done it? I've done it. We've all stood there awkwardly trying to jam a house key, a stick of lip balm, or a single sad coin into this ridiculously tiny pocket on the front right side of our favorite blue jeans. It doesn't fit a modern smartphone. It definitely doesn't fit your wallet. So why is it actually there? Is it just a useless fashion statement? A global denim conspiracy?
What happened next?
You are actually walking around with a 150-year-old ghost of the Wild West stitched right onto your hip. To understand why you have a useless tiny pocket today, we have to travel back to the late 19th century. Specifically, the rough, chaotic, and dusty 1800s gold rush landscape of the American West, where daily survival was incredibly hard, and the clothes you wore had to be even harder. Look around the world today, and you'll see this tiny piece of folded fabric literally everywhere. It's on the skaters tearing up your local park, the business casual tech workers grabbing their morning espresso, and the high-fashion models strutting down the runway in Paris. We just accept it as normal. We buy a pair of jeans, see the little pocket nestled safely inside the big right front pocket, and sometimes, in a rare moment of desperation, you might try to stash a folded-up $20 bill or a plastic guitar pick in there. But getting it back out? That usually requires 2 fingers, a lot of uncomfortable squirming, and a frustrated sigh. It genuinely feels like a glaring design flaw, a weird factory mistake that somehow slipped past quality control for over a century. Why would brands continue to waste fabric and stitching on a pocket that literally no one uses for its intended purpose anymore? What was its intended purpose? Anyway, let's go back to 1890, when Levi Strauss and tailor Jacob Davis finalized the brilliant design for the legendary 501 jeans. These were absolutely not fashion statements. They were heavy-duty, functional workwear, built specifically for miners swinging pickaxes and cowboys riding unpredictable bucking broncos. Back then, wristwatches weren't really a thing for men. They relied entirely on pocket watches to tell the time. But if you're doing intense manual labor, dropping a fragile glass and brass timepiece into a regular loose pocket was a guaranteed way to smash it into a million expensive pieces. Enter the watch pocket. It wasn't an accident. It was a highly engineered piece of survival tech. Look closely at the actual mechanics of the denim. The pocket was specifically cut and measured to be just deep enough to completely swallow a standard 19th century pocket watch, holding it incredibly snug against the body. This incredibly tight friction fit prevented the watch from violently bouncing around while riding a horse or tumbling down a dark mine shaft. The extra rivet at the corner wasn't just for decoration. It reinforced the seam against the heavy tug of a metal watch chain. That chain would drape perfectly out of the pocket and hook onto the belt loop or a button, keeping the watch completely secure, yet instantly accessible. It was literally a heavy-duty, impact-resistant carrying case, custom-built directly into the pants. They literally called it the watch pocket. But then, the world rapidly changed. In the early 20th century, especially during the chaos of the First World War, soldiers realized that digging around in a tight pocket to check the time was completely impractical in the muddy trenches. The wristwatch was born out of pure necessity, and it quickly became the dominant global standard for men and women alike. As the bulky pocket watch slowly faded into complete historical obscurity, you'd logically think the dedicated watch pocket would disappear right along with it. But Levi Strauss, and eventually every other denim manufacturer on the planet, made a conscious choice to keep it. Not for functional storage, but for brand identity. It became a defining structural signature of what a pair of jeans was fundamentally supposed to look like. Today, that tiny pocket is an absolute global standard, stitched into billions of garments worldwide, worn by people who have never even held a pocket watch. Think about how wonderfully wild that actually is. Every single time you pull on your favorite pair of worn-in jeans, you are effectively wrapping yourself in a living museum exhibit. You are wearing a tangible piece of industrial history, frozen in time by the golden orange thread and copper rivets that hold it all together. It's a beautiful reminder that sometimes the things we take for granted have the deepest roots. The mundane features of our daily lives are often echoes of a completely different era, hiding in plain sight. So, next time you're trying to wedge your emergency lip balm into that impossibly tight space, just remember, you aren't fighting a bad design. You're just trying to fit the 21st century into an 1800s cowboy's watch case.